Hello, today we are going to plant up a container with some nice autumn bedding just to cheer up those long dark autumn evenings. This time of year it's autumn, we're guaranteed to get a lot of rain, so what you need in the bottom of your nice frost resistant pot is a terracotta one that's been glazed, it's got a guarantee on it. What we need is some good drainage. So what we've got here is some nice 3/4 gravel or just bits of old broken pot. You can put some in. Chuck some in there for me. That's it. A little bit more. Just cover the bottom of the pot with some drainage. That's it. Well done, guys. That's enough. And then what I like to do is, you don't have to do this, but I like to separate the compost from the drainage with a layer of Taram or geotextile landscape fabric. It lets the water through but doesn't let the compost into the stones, so it carries on being free draining. So that just sits on top of the stones. We keep that one for a minute for the next one, like that. And then we go for some compost. This time of year, this compost has been sat outside, so it's nice and wet. You can help, yeah, we can all help put the compost in. Ideally, you use a pair of gloves. Compost, it's like soil. It's a bit like mud, yeah, so it's nice and damp, nice and cold. So you put some of that in there. Go on then, guys. Go on then, it's cold and it's sticky, but in it goes. Come on this side, Rose. There, in it goes. Put them warming. Rose. Okay, right. Now we've filled the pot up with some compost. We pushed it down a little bit, nice and firm. It's nice and damp. I've left it down because obviously I've got to put the plants in there. They've got compost around them. No point putting it in just to dig it out. Okay, so the first one we're going to put in there is a nice variegated hebe. Lasts all year, it's got a little bit of flower left on it, but it's going to give you some nice colour through the winter when you want to come to change your cyclums, your bedding for a different variety. Look at that, some nice root structure on that. Just tease them out a little bit like that, just so they're not so much pot bound. Well done. And then we just squizzle that into the middle there. Lovely. That's in there like a treat. That's nice. Nice and firm. Right, next that's nice and consolidated in. Next we're going to go for a little bit of bedding around it because that's going to give you all year colour. So you can just keep changing what's around the outside of it. But when it flowers it is lovely. These cyclums, they're lovely. They look nice and fragile, but they don't mind a bit of a bashing, which is very good. They're in polystyrene pots. They're reasonably cheap. And you just push your finger up through the bottom of your polystyrene pot like that. It's a lot less messy than snapping all the plastic polystyrene tray everywhere. So we've got one out. My helper there is, if you look at the position of that, it's sort of going over one way. So we can get away with putting one cyclum in this side, like that. Squidge it in. The roots are nice and wet. They're not very root bound, so you don't have to worry so much about putting them out. They're very loose in there. And we spin it round. We put another one in this side. Don't worry about any gaps because in no time at all the plants will fill up the voids with their foliage and their leaves, and they'll all be lovely. This one's a little tricky to get out, but it's coming out. Don't worry so much about pushing too much on the plants. They can take it. So you just force them in the pot like that. So that's in there nicely like that. And then my helpers are getting compost from everywhere. So then I get a little bit more compost and just fill it into the voids. Because obviously the little voids now, push them in nice and gently. Careful of the bedding plants more than anything else, because they're the little ones that take all the damage, because they're not nice and fragile. Push them nice and in. If you don't like the look of compost in the top of your pots, you can cover it with a little bit of grit or a little bit of forest bark. Oh, sorry Tom. There you go. And keep forcing it in, get all the voids. That's it, compost nice and damp. Super.